Okay, so get ready because today we're going deep, deep into something. Something that really just like flipped the switch in my brain. It's called the law of resistance.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
It is, but also kind of freeing once you wrap your head around it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed how, like, the more you fight against something, the bigger it seems to get?
Oh, all the time. Like when I'm trying to, not eat that last cookie, suddenly it's all I can think about.
Exactly. And that's kind of what this whole law of resistance thing is about. The idea is that whatever you resist actually persists because you're giving it all your attention. I stumbled across this amazing little quote that basically sums it up. It says, "What you resist persists because you keep focusing on it. Accept, adapt, and shift focus rather than fight things outside your control."
Wow. That's powerful. And it kind of makes you think about all the ways we accidentally make things harder for ourselves.
Right. Like, what if instead of constantly battling against stuff, we could somehow use that energy differently?
Well, that's where the real magic of this concept comes in. It's not about giving up or just letting things happen, but more about understanding how our own focus can either fuel a problem or create a solution.
So, like, instead of getting all stressed out in traffic, I should, like, embrace the traffic jam.
Well, not necessarily embrace it, haha, but maybe instead of resisting the reality that you are stuck, you could use that time to listen to an awesome podcast like this one, or do some deep breathing exercises. Turn that frustration into something positive.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So acceptance isn't about being passive. It's more about, how do I put this? It's about seeing things clearly and then figuring out how to work with them.
You nailed it. It's like once you acknowledge the situation, you can stop wasting energy fighting it and start looking for ways to adapt.
Which is kind of what that quote was saying, right?
That-
Accept, adapt, and shift focus.
Exactly. And shifting focus is a game changer. It's like taking that spotlight off the problem and shining it on the possibilities instead.
Ooh, I like that. Spotlight on the possibilities. So how would someone, like, actually do that? Especially when faced with, like, a giant, overwhelming challenge.
Well, think about it like this. Let's say you get assigned a project at work and it seems totally impossible, right? Instead of freaking out and resisting the whole thing, you could try breaking it down into smaller steps. Focus on what you can control and start there.
Yeah, that makes it less scary.
Exactly. And you might even find that as you work through those smaller steps, you discover things you're really good at or even hidden opportunities within the challenge itself.
Okay, so it's like the challenge itself doesn't actually change, but our attitude towards it does.
Boom, you got it. And that's how we build resilience. We stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as, well, chances to learn and grow.
This is so cool. But I'm also thinking about folks who might be listening and thinking, okay, great idea in theory, but how do I actually apply this in my daily life?
That's a great question. And the answer is, it takes practice, just like learning any new skill. But there are some techniques that can help.
Ooh, do tell. Well, mindfulness is a big one. By learning to pay attention to our thoughts and emotions without judging them, we can become less reactive and more intentional about how we respond to things.
So instead of automatically freaking out about something, we can pause and choose a different way to react.
Precisely. And then there's something called cognitive reframing. It's a fancy way of saying we can choose to see a situation from a different perspective.
So instead of thinking this is a total disaster, I could ask myself, what can I learn from this? Or what's one good thing that could come out of this situation?
Now you're talking. It's all about changing the story we tell ourselves from one of resistance to one of possibility.
All right, so the recap. We've learned about this awesome concept, the law of resistance, which basically says that fighting against things only gives them more power. But if we can accept what is, adapt our approach, and shift our focus, we can find new and, dare I say, better ways to handle whatever life throws at us. And it's important to remember, this is a journey. We'll always come up against things we want to resist, but with this awareness, we can navigate those situations with more, grace, and maybe even find some hidden gems along the way.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. What is one area in your life where you can apply the law of resistance? What are you currently wrestling with that might become a little easier if you approached it with acceptance and a shift in focus? Think about it, play around with these ideas, and see what happens. You might be surprised at the positive shifts that start to unfold.
I love that. All right, everyone, until next time, keep diving deep and exploring those fascinating corners of your mind.
And remember, what you resist persists, so choose your focus wisely.
And your cookies. Don't forget about choosing your cookies wisely.
Huh? Always good advice.